Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 5.
All right, everybody, welcome back. We actually have some new information to bring you. A tornado warning has been issued. It does include the exact same areas that we've been tracking tonight. It went from a severe thunderstorm warning. Now we have a tornado warning in effect. And I'm pulling it up right now for the latest information. And here it is. Until 5:30 p.m., we do have this in effect for Baltimore County. And that is over here near Perry Hall and White Marsh. Now, the shape of this storm has everything to it. It's got that hook shape to it, but what we are looking for now is actually the winds inside of it. It has shown some signs of very weak rotation, but this tornado warning in effect until 5:30 p.m. If you're near White Marsh, Perry Hall, all the way up towards Joppatown, you are in this warning, and you should go ahead and take shelter from this storm as it has shown some signs of rotation. And while we do not have a confirmation of a tornado on the ground here, what we do have is at least some radar information, and it is indicated that there are at least enough rotation. The Weather Service has issued a tornado warning on this. All right, so let's take a look at the velocity right here. And what I'm going to show you is the winds inside the storm. What we're looking at here are the green are winds going towards the radar, which is in this direction here. And down here are winds moving away. That's the red color. Now, the fact that you have it moving towards and then away, you can kind of get an idea. This is that counterclockwise circulation in the storm. Now, it is not a very consolidated circulation at all. That's the good news, but we cannot confirm based upon this. The radar is pointed pretty high up in this location, meaning we don't get a good idea of what is happening on the ground. So we need everyone to take shelter regardless. Again, the storm is nearly stationary. That's something that's pretty rare, actually, for tornadoes, because normally we think of them moving and then moving in a direction. So Perry Hall and White Marsh right now up towards Joppatown. Now with this storm, in addition to what you're seeing on the radar here, is torrential rain, lots of lightning, and we could even see some winds gusting 50, 60 miles per hour. But this is that location of where the possible tornado is, just north of Perry Hall. So again, the tornado warning is in effect until 5:30. We're going to have some crews hopefully headed that direction here soon enough. Again, the storm is one by itself, really. It's one of zero, really. We just have one other storm out there, and it's really been kind of connected to this. So we're going to watch this carefully and see how it progresses. But overall, it is a weak circulation, but it is only weak in terms of the way it is displayed on radar, meaning the radar is only seeing the winds, and it's seeing the winds very high up. So I'm looking at several different sources of data right now to get the best idea on this. And of course, if everyone in the control room, if we do have any pictures, any live cameras, this is near the I-95 area near White Marsh, Perry Hall. We may have a couple of traffic cameras in that vicinity. If we get a hold of those, we'll definitely have them displayed for you here. But at the very least, what I am going to try to do is see if I can get our camera pointed in that direction. We do have one camera near Towson that might be able to see that location. And if there's anyone back in the control room that might be able to get that camera pointed in that direction, we want to look to the north and northeast from Towson, and we'll see if we can get that camera pointed up that way, because visually, that's what we need to be able to see. As you can see here from the Inner Harbor, it looks like a perfectly beautiful day, right? Nothing happening, but the storm is located to the north and east of Baltimore. So as you can tell, again, there it is, the one lone storm up there, just to the south of Bel Air. And it's continuing to at least increase in size, but the strength overall, the velocity of what I'm trying to see is not that impressive yet. But either way, we are going to take it as seriously as possible, knowing that anything can happen with these storms. This time of the year, we don't usually expect to see many tornadoes form out of storms like these either. That's the good news. But we are going to treat this as if a tornado could be ongoing at this moment. So that means that anyone near Perry Hall or even White Marsh, even though you're not actually in that circulation, let's just be on the safe side. Anyone in White Marsh, go ahead and take your precautions and get into your safe place. The best places would be away from windows and interior parts of your home. Bathrooms are a great place. Just want to be away from outdoor walls or outside walls and away from windows. All right, so we're going to take another close look at the velocity here. And this is what we've been watching. Again, tornado warning is in effect until 5:30, but that doesn't mean necessarily that this storm will continue the warning through that time, but we need to be out there at least. Notice the other box here. That's a severe thunderstorm warning around it. That's because we have seen still gusty winds, and if you look right in here, those are still some pretty strong winds, and you could get damage from winds right in here, even if you are not in that, again, in a tornado. Remember, damaging winds of 60 miles per hour can bring down trees, power lines, and even cause some damage to homes. So just south of Baldwin, anywhere in this bright green area, we're talking about winds that are more than strong enough to cause damage. So that is the severe thunderstorm warning, which was in effect before this tornado warning. Tornado warning until 5:30. It is nearly stationary. It's, again, an amazing thing that we are just not going to see much movement. So it's not like we have to worry too much about communities upstream from this storm, or I should say downstream. So Joppatown, you're not even quite in it yet. But between Baldwin, Perry Hall, and just to the south of there, White Marsh, we're just going to keep close eyes on there, but the circulation is right in here. And we're going to continue to monitor this for a little while longer, but we have one storm out there and one only. So this is going to sound a little repetitive, and if you could excuse that, just because we know that there's only one storm to track, that's actually a very good thing. But we're going to have to be repetitive as people join and know what's going on. So again, your phones may be going off. If not, you may not necessarily be in that tornado warning specifically. But if you do know someone who lives in these areas, Greenwood, Glenarm, Giddings, Kingsville, Joppatown is included in the warning, but that's not precisely where this circulation is. It's going to be a little bit more towards this area. And I'm going to draw out where that circulation is so that everyone can see it. It's very weak, but it's right in here. And this is the area that has, again, been seeing this circulation that has hardly moved at all. And I'm hoping that they will continue to see this weaken. The storm is not the most powerful one we've seen. In addition, though, to this, you could also encounter some small hail near Kingsville, possibly up to the size of maybe a quarter. That's fairly large, actually, but it could be smaller than that. We could be talking about pea-sized to penny-sized hail. But that's circulation, again, is just back over here. Glenarm, you are very near it. Perry Hall, it's very near there, too. And then Kingsville over to Fork. The circulation, gladly, at least if it's not moving, then that means there's fewer people that are going to be impacted by it. All right. So, again, tornado warning until 5:30 p.m. Just for Baltimore County. It does not, well, the tornado warning does specifically, it does include parts of Harford County, but the circulation's not in Harford County right now. It could cross the border, but right now the storm has just not even budged. I'm going to put this forward in motion. Over the last hour, you can see it's not moved even hardly an inch. So one thing that we can also say about this is with the storm not moving at all, you better be prepared for some incredibly heavy rain to be sitting there for a long time, which means flooding will be a concern. Flash flooding would be a concern. Just to give you an idea of how much rain they've already seen in just the last 3 hours. Goodness, it's already upping near 5 inches of rain. This is showing about 2 to 3 inches of rain, but it could be getting close to 5 inches of rain. Okay, so now, as you can see, that green box that just popped up as I was talking about the problem being flash flooding, a flash flood warning was also issued. That is until 8:15. Same area, same storm. Of course, we are live right now covering this one tornado warning, and again, it's not the strongest of circulations I've seen, but the radar is not picking it up well because it is so elevated. But we are continuing to track the potential that this one could produce a short-lived, brief, weak tornado. It may have already occurred, and it may not occur at all, but we're going to be on the safe side. And the latest scans do not give me much more information just yet.
Hey, Gerard, just to let you know.
Yes, Kai, go ahead.
Looking at things, I'm just kind of scanning through traffic cameras through White Marsh.
Yeah.
I don't see anything on the ground. Like,
right.
So that kind of seems to jibe with what you're saying. You may or may not see it. Nothing on the ground. It looks overcast, but that's all I see on the ground.
Well, it definitely matters as to exactly where you might be looking, Kai, and I'm going to try to see if this circulation could be buried in rain at all, and it very well could. The way I'm pointing it is just to the north of Perry Hall, and again, I'm going to circle the circulation, and this is important because Kai says, well, we don't see anything. Well,
wet roads.
That's good and bad, yeah. But I'm circling the circulation where this tornado could possibly be, this potential tornado. Now you're seeing that's the velocity, but look at it, it is buried in rain right here. And where that circle is very torrential rain. Again, that flash flood warning is in effect until 8:30. So this is somewhat of an issue. You're not going to be able to see it. But Kai, thank you for the information. He's actually showing me a picture.
One that you're talking about. This is I-695 at 95. So there is the torrential rain.
Very nearby, yeah.
Yep,
so
that's
it's
the torrential
pouring rain.
It's pouring.
And that's important. Anyone that's heading northbound from White Marsh up 95 needs to be aware of this. They should stop no further north than White Marsh. They should get off the roads. Please talk to anybody that may be on the roads. Do not park under overpasses. This is a huge problem. Anyone that's parking under an overpass, you're in potentially deadly situations there. All right, yes, the rain is pouring. It's a tornado warning. You think you're in shelter. You're not. You're not for a couple of reasons. One is if a tornado were to move over you and you're under a bridge, that funnels the wind even faster. We don't want that to happen. But more dangerous than that, the visibility is horrible and you are blocking the road from people being able to travel. And they may not even see that you are stopped. So do not park under any overpasses, under them at all. That is not a good place. It is a very dangerous place to be. But again, very heavy rain over the interstate I-95 north of White Marsh, between there and then as we head a little bit closer up towards Aberdeen, try to see if you can contact anybody that may be traveling I-95 and tell them to get off the road and find suitable shelter. That means indoors, not in your car. Gas stations are fine. Get interior parts of the gas station. That's okay. You're safer there than in your car. But at the very least, again, that tornado circulation possibly between Baldwin near Perry Hall, and again, that's until 5:15. So we've got another 4 minutes to go, and we'll see if they extend this warning. I would be surprised if they did the way it's looking right now. It's not particularly strong, but the circulation is still there. It is just very weak. And I'm going to continue to circle this area one more time. So there's the rotation. And again, just north of Perry Hall, and the storm nearly stationary, tells you a lot. It's what we call a back builder. What is a back builder? A back builder means that it's continuing to almost feed itself, so it doesn't move much. But back building storms can produce an amazing, highly amazing amount of rainfall in a short amount of time. So again, there's that circulation just north of Perry Hall, not budged hardly at all between Baldwin and Perry Hall. Another 4 minutes on the tornado warning. But in addition to this, you could be encountering winds of 60 miles per hour. Those are severe winds. And you could also be encountering not just torrential rain, flooding rain, flash flooding rain. So flash flood warnings are also in effect until 8:15. And we just have an, excuse me, I made a mistake. It is not until 5:15 on the tornado warnings, until 5:30. So we do have this for another 17, 18 minutes here. We'll stick with this. We're going to until the warning gets canceled, and that's the hope, as if the circulation continues to weaken. The storm itself is actually weakening just a bit. It was looking a little more intense over the last 20 minutes, but overall we're noticing some trends of it weakening, so I'm going to say that is at least an improvement, looking better. But again, it's all about the winds. So we're going to sample the winds really quickly and show you, how strong they look. They may not be particularly strong in most locations, so we're talking, 30, 40 miles per hour, but they were stronger earlier, and that was, the reason for the severe thunderstorm warning. So it was at this point where the winds were stronger, where these bright greens are. The winds inside at that point can be, upwards of 30, 40 miles per hour, and at some points even near 60 miles per hour. But the tornado warning was triggered right there, right after, as soon as we came on the air at 5 o'clock. So we've had to monitor this one lone storm during that time. So, okay, looks like we have Pleasant Hill. Do we know what direction that is pointed? Both directions, I'm sorry. So we can see both directions as far as the traffic moving, and that's Pleasant Hill. I'm not sure what road that is. I'm trying to see. It's a two-lane highway of some sort. Oh, it's Route 1. Thank you. So you're looking at Route 1 up there towards Pleasant Hill. And what was that, Kai? Yeah, just north of Perry Hall. So good find. At least we can see some traffic. As you can tell, it looks like the rain is absolutely torrential right there. So again, that's an issue. Anyone who may be driving through this may not have a clue what they're driving into. If you do know anyone that's in the area, please call them. Tell them what's going on. Tell them what they could be driving into, not just the flash flooding threat. Yeah, there's a possible tornado on the ground here. And there may be many people looking at the traffic you can see behind me. They may not have a clue. I'm hoping their phones go off and tell them something, but that's not always going to happen. And sometimes it can be a little too late. But at the very least, we could say the torrential rain that's happening here is going to continue. The flooding threat is of particular concern here. The tornado threat, while it's there because we do have that warning, the circulation has weakened and broadened significantly over just the last few scans. So I'm becoming at least a little more confident that we may not have a tornado on the ground here, but that the warning may actually be allowed to expire or get canceled, hopefully sooner than later. And then we can get back to business on the newscast here. So tornado warning in effect until 5:30 p.m. That surrounding it is the flash flood warning. And again, we have flash flood watches, or excuse me, flood watches in effect for a large portion of the area. The one other good thing I can say is that the environment is not particularly supportive of tornadoes today. While this one was triggered for a warning based upon what was being seen on radar, the velocity showing that circulation, it was weak and fairly short-lived, but it was just strong enough for a period of time to trigger this tornado warning by the National Weather Service. Hence, that's why it's out there and we're covering it. But we need to be concerned by more than just the tornado warning. Again, that flash flood warning until 8:15 for that entire area. Still a very heavy rain producer, but overall, at least the winds inside seem to be dying down a bit.
And Gerard, we're just taking a look at some of the traffic cams that we have going out there from the Maryland Department of Transportation. Heavy rain on the lens. And if you can tell me exactly where this is, again, is this route US 1 at Maryland 152. So that is pounding rain at that intersection, and it's up near Bel Air. Drivers are pretty easily navigating things, but usually you don't see our traffic cams with so much rain on them. That just shows you the intensity of what's out there at this hour. And, you know, it's rush hour at this point.
It is. Everyone's trying to go home, so they may be leaving Baltimore, headed north into this storm. And again, the tornadic circulation, the potential is just off the highway. The rain is still on the highways. And again, we still have so much. So Bel Air Road, which is Route 1 that heads straight into that storm, which we had that camera up just moments ago, that's what we're talking about. If you headed up Route 1 through this, Pleasant Hills all the way down through Kingsville is in that very intense rain. And again, some of it could be flash flooding, and you don't want to be caught in that in any way, shape, or form. The roads can get overwhelmed as this storm has not moved at all. And again, we're going to take another quick look at how much rain has fallen, and it continues to fill up. Marywood and Fork, that just seems to be bullseye with the heaviest of the rain right now. And again, they're still just getting absolutely torrential rain in those areas.
It's moving this slowly.
No, the way the storms were set up today is actually exactly what we anticipated. Good question, Mary, because the winds that would normally steer storms are so weak. And what they're doing is they're building onto each other. So it's almost like imagine a conveyor belt moving, but it has dominoes on it. If the dominoes are falling at the exact same speed that the conveyor belt is moving, it just looks like they're falling perpetually.
Right.
So with that, the storms are just not moving. They look like they're stationary falling.
Which is
dominoes.
Opposite of last week. Remember those storms moved through so quickly.
Yes, yes.
With
and
the
again,
wind.
Those winds that steer these storms are everything. So today, the main issue is still going to be flooding rains because these storms weren't going to move much. That's been the biggest concern. However, we, of course, are paying close attention to this tornado warning, which is up for another 12 minutes. And this is looking better to me.
All right, and I'm going to read this. We have some communication, a tweet from one of our viewers. The cell north of Baltimore has a dynamic wall cloud that has remained parked over White Marsh for 45 minutes. Periods of very intense lightning and rain. You see the Best Buy right there near, right.
Yeah, that is definite video of a wall cloud there you got there. So looks like someone is at least spotting the storm. Now that is a lowering or wall cloud, which means the storm was at least this point in time a very healthy storm. It is feeding, and it was strong. And if we were to see exactly a tornado out of this, it would form out of that wall cloud right there. This is likely some dated video, not super dated. We're talking about when the storm was likely gathering its strength. At this point, we know that the circulation did somehow get swallowed by the storm in a way and ended up in the middle of all the rain. So if there was a tornado ongoing now, you would not be able to see it. Again, the storm is now at least moving here. The winds have significantly dropped off as far as anything circulating too. If there was a circulation, it would be somewhere in here. It's even difficult to find. It's so weak. So that's, again, more good news. But earlier, this was separated away from that heavy rain, and it might have been easier to see. So as the tornado warning will continue for another 10 minutes, we are going to watch that carefully. But still, the torrential rain, the lightning has been incredibly impressive, too. We've seen a ton of that. And again, we're seeing, look at that, 200 and almost 250 strikes in the last 15 minutes. Totally blotting out that storm. So the lightning, constant almost, cloud to ground can also be quite deadly. Please make sure you are indoors if from anything. that is also a very big hazard. Okay, so we still have the latest data, and that's still continuing to show the storm is at least showing a little bit of movement now, and movement off to the north and east. And that tells me a couple things. One is that means the storm could be weakening further. And two, that means that the tornado threat is continuing to drop off. But we'll still watch it. The winds inside, not particularly powerful, but you could still see winds gusting 40, 50 miles per hour. In fact, the severe thunderstorm warning isn't officially in effect anymore, but the tornado warning still counts as being a severe thunderstorm. And we're going to continue to watch. I'm going to look at my other radar here for just a moment and see if I can see anything differently. But right now, it's all in agreement.
But it at least is moving, and you think it's going east, which normally I feel like we see these storms go northeast, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it all depends on the winds with that, right. Mary. And again, we've got a couple spots of some stronger winds, like you can see up this one near Baldwin, just barely on the edge of that. And so that could just be a strong wind gust coming out of the storm, not necessarily anything tornadic. But I'm just looking right here on Bel Air Road, Route 1, right near Kingsville, which has just been getting hammered with the rain, is in the worst of it right now. And there could be some hail involved too. So looking inside, our hail detector is not detecting hail. This is probably all just incredibly heavy rain. Right. And I'm going to show you our rotation detector now. And our rotation detector, you can see, it was trying to pick up on something up here. It's this little green spot over here near Baldwin. But earlier, I'm going to back the clock up. You'll see where the rotation detector was picking up on something a little bit stronger. And that was right there. You can see the rotation detector, weak rotation, but it was there. And this is where it triggered the warning. But overall, you saw the rotation weakening. So it's been mostly good news.
So like Mary was saying, slow moving, how severe could the flooding be? Flooding?
It's not good when it's hardly moving. So again, over just the last, I think this storm really fired up in just the last hour and a half. In 90 minutes, we've seen when we're nearing 5 inches of rain.
5 inches.
In 90 minutes is a lot. So
wow.
That's a lot of rain.
That is a lot. That is a ton. And they have just been in absolute deluge in Fork, near Kingsville, Pleasant Hills, over the entire span. I'm going to back the radar up for 2 hours, and you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. And we can see the very beginning of the storm, where it wasn't hardly there. It was just barely developing as of around 3:30. And then you'll see the storm develop, and one portion of it just sat there over and over for a solid hour at least. And we've seen nearing 5 inches of rain. So flash flooding is my biggest concern right now in this area, more than the tornado warning, because there is just not much rotation being shown. But at the same time, if you're in either of these warnings, the flash flood or the tornado warning, you need to be paying close attention to this, especially if you're traveling on I-95 or Route 1, more especially Route 1 between Bel Air and Perry Hall. Right. Avoid it. Go any other route that you can.
Yeah, that's a heavily traveled route, though. I mean, that's got everything along it if you live up that way. And we see the storm just on the edge of Falston as well, and then up maybe going towards Bel Air.
Well, some good news. The tornado warning has now been canceled. They canceled it early, so we can say goodbye to that, and hopefully that will continue to stay canceled. We won't see anything reissued, but there still is a flash flood warning that's in effect until 8:15. We can turn it back to the newscast.
I always like to remind people, Gerard, they should not become relaxed just because the tornado warning is expired. Right?
Not completely. We could see reissuance if the storm continues to redevelop, but not only that, the flash flooding is still there, and that is of concern, especially when we know more people die from flash flooding than they do from tornadoes in this country. Take that seriously. We'll, of course, be back later with updates as we get them.
Gerard, thank you for that incredible coverage. Put the power of the Weather Authority Storm Center in your hands. Download the free WBFF Weather Authority app for your smartphone. Use our powerful Doppler radar to follow storms right down to your street. Just go to the App Store and search WBFF to get started. We'll stay on the whole weather situation. Go right back to Gerard if anything develops.